Hello! Welcome to the Polyglot Files. My name is Michael, and today we're doing a video about a language that I love a lot, but that I find quite silly. The subject of today's video is Afrikaans. I have been studying Afrikaans since 2016, so about three and a half years, and over the course of my 3 years studying the language, I have noticed some things that are very, peculiar, we'll say. Before I get started though, I did want to say that today's video has been sponsored by italki. Italki is one of the fastest and most effective ways to become fluent in a language because it puts you in contact with native speakers of that language. Human teachers are one of the best ways to learn language, period. You can take one-on-one lessons with an italki teacher or tutor that is catered to your learning style and your goals. Best of all, italki lessons are exclusively online. That means you can take lessons anytime you like and you can take it anywhere, so long as you have an internet connection. Lessons with italki are affordable, often at a fraction of the cost of taking lessons with an offline tutor at a school or using computer software. As I mentioned before, I've been studying Afrikaans for 3 years and I've actually used italki to help me advance my competency in the language. Follow the link in the description and get $10 in italki credits after the purchase of your first lesson. So one of the first things I thought that were kind of silly, but also kind of cute with Afrikaans when I first started learning was that they use these things called verkleинings. A verkleining basically is something that goes to the end of a word and it kind of makes the word sound like cutesy or like childish. So for example, if you wanted to talk about a dog and you wanted to say that it was a cute dog or like a little cute doggy. The word for dog in Afrikaans is hond, but when you add the verkleining, it becomes hoinkie. So you can say something like, oh, kyk daai hoinkie, like, oh, look at that little doggy. And you can use that ending for pretty much anything. You could say something like, this is my klein karkie, this is my little car. When you're talking to like a child, you can say, jy is 'n oulike mannetjie. So that's the first thing. I think Afrikaans is kind of silly when it comes to cutifying a lot of words. You can't really make things cutified in English by adding an ending to it, can you? You can just do the voice. Oh, you're such a little doggy. Okay, the second thing I found silly was something that I had trouble wrapping my head around when I was first learning Afrikaans, and it's something that I sometimes forget to do even to this day when I'm speaking Afrikaans, and that's using to nie. So basically when you want to make a sentence negative in Afrikaans, you have to use the word nie, but you have to use it twice. Once after the verb and another time after the whole sentence. So for example, if I wanted to say something like, die boek is vervelig, the book is boring, I can make that negative and say the book is not boring, which ends up being die boek is nie vervelig nie. Which if you directly translate into English, you end up getting something like the book is not boring not, which is really confusing. I forget about my second nie, so I might say a whole sentence and then at the end pause and be like, nie. Ek het nie vergeet my boek by my huis. Nie. The next thing I find silly about Afrikaans actually has more to say about me as a language learner rather than the language itself. I have trouble distinguishing between these 4 words, and that's not normally a problem, except that one of those words, and I'm not going to say which one, is a swear word, and it means a lady, I guess it could be a man too, so we'll say a person who is very promiscuous. And it's kind of difficult because the other 3 words, and I'm gonna try pronouncing them now, have very common meanings for things that you might use in your everyday life. For example, oor means ear, and hoor means to hear something. And hoor means high, like hoërskool, high school. Ek hoor altyd met my hoor. Afrikaans, why you gotta do that to me? Why you gotta make the words so similar that it sounds like I'm swearing at people? or I'm calling people nasty names. And then my last part here has to do with some Afrikaans vocabulary that I just find confusing, frankly. For example, the word for hose in Afrikaans, like a garden hose, is a tuinslang, which means a garden snake. They also have a funny word for cotton candy, which is spook-awesome, which means ghost breath, which is slightly less fun. They also, and this actually can be combined with the verkleинings that we talked about earlier, about like cutesy words. They don't have gloves in Afrikaans. They have handskoene, which are hand shoes. Shoes on your hands? I guess it makes sense. It's like on a limb, the end of a limb, and I don't know. Maybe not so much sense. But I do think you could like double cutify the word handskoene in Afrikaans and say handskoenetjies, and now you're saying like, oh, little dippity hand shoes. The word for popcorn in Afrikaans also makes me laugh. It's springmielies, which is jumping corn. Spring mielietjies. Like, oh, little jumping corns. Like they try and make it sound more palatable. I don't know. I don't know why this happens. This one is also a confusing Afrikaans word for hippopotamus, seekoe, which means sea cow. I just don't even have commentary. I also actually have another word that I don't have commentary for, and it's the word for wasp. Perdebei, which means horse bee. Kyk die perdebei. Look at that horse bee. And then we have the idioms in Afrikaans that I find to be kind of silly. Two in particular that I don't really understand. So the first idiom is something you say when you're telling somebody that, oh, I'm telling the truth. Like that's a fact. So you would say, dis 'n feit soos 'n koe, which means it's a fact like a cow. I mean, I guess cows are facts, like we know concretely, without debate, that cows exist, but why? The next idiom that I find kind of cute and funny is when you want to say that somebody is easily scared. This is something that I am. I'm easily scared, like people scare me all the time. You would say something like, "Hy skrik vir 'n koue pampoen," which means he scares or he becomes scared for a cold pumpkin. Which, I mean, like, I guess maybe that traces back to like jack-o'-lanterns. Like people are scared of jack-o'-lanterns, they're scared of carved pumpkins, but they're not scared of uncarved pumpkins. But I'm not really sure that I would make that connection. Like he gets scared of a cold pumpkin. So he's scared even when the pumpkin isn't carved? Maybe? Okay, so these are just some of the fun things that I've uncovered while I've been learning Afrikaans. If you know of any other just like silly, cute, funny Afrikaans ways of thinking about things, leave them in the comments below. I would be super excited to hear them because I'm like 100% sure that there are way more silly, cutesy, funny Afrikaans ways of conceiving the world that I just haven't thought about yet. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check me out on social media. I have a Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As usual, thank you for watching the Polyglot Files, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!